So, hello everyone. This is Country Music News International, and today I'm speaking to John Spence, who is way over there in Australia, which is quite unusual for me. So, hello, John. How are you doing?
Hi Nigel, I'm doing absolutely fine. It's quite hot here in Sydney. It's over 30 degrees. The sun's about to go down on the northern beaches of Sydney, and I'm wearing my very best summer shirt.
Yeah, you're just trying to make me feel bad, I know, because it's cold and winter right here.
And
Yeah,
I bought it in 75 and it wasn't worth very much. I paid 400 Australian dollars for it. I took a day off work and I went to every single music shop in Sydney from north to south to find a second-hand Stratocaster that I could afford. And I ended up basically back right in the middle of Sydney, and there was a guitar shop then called Guitar City, and it was the worst, most beaten up looking Strat of everyone that I played that day. It looked like I'd been run over by a truck 5 times, but it just played great. And back in those
yeah.
days, I didn't know about Stratocasters and Fenders and such. It was the first probably good electric guitar I ever bought. And I just remembered what it felt like to play it. And to be honest, I've still got that today. It's still my number one guitar, 68 Strat. It's had probably 5 different paint jobs. It's got very little original value, so not really a collectible instrument.
Yeah.
It's had the caps changed, it's had the bridge changed, it's had new machine heads, it's had lots of work done to it, but it's a great guitar, and my son will kill me if I ever sell it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's come to a bit more up to date. Last week, when we were originally thinking about having an interview, you were over in Tamworth.
Yeah.
So I know you were playing. Tell me a little bit more about what that all was and what you were getting up to in Tamworth.
Sure. Tamworth Country Music Festival has been running 52 years, so it's the longest running and the largest single music event in the Southern Hemisphere and has been for quite some time. So it's about a 12-day event. Runs collectively across 2 weekends and the whole week in the middle. It it gathers people from all around the world. It attracts people, of course, from all over Australia, mainly East Coast, from Victoria to Queensland, etc. But lots of further afield and lots of international travellers make it a real destination holiday. The great thing is that it's not like a standard festival where these days you would pay one ticket price, you go in and you see maybe 6 or 8 stages set up and you see 20 acts over the course of a few days. It's completely different from that. Was set up organically back in the early 70s, meaning they decided to run a festival called the Tamworth Country Music Festival. I think 1973 it started, and every venue basically just booked their own artists and they promoted their own shows, and that's still exactly what happens today. And we've got an album coming out, it's called Burning Sky, in the middle of this year, around about. So far to date, I have released 3 singles from the album, and they've done pretty well. They've got some airplay, we've done some nice media, it's been picked up, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I've listened to Burning Sky. What was it on Spotify? But I didn't find any others.
If you put in Spotify search, John Spence Burning Sky, you should find at least 3 songs there. So
Okay,
I've got three.
I'll have to do that again. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, specifically talking about Burning Sky, is there a story behind that, or like a story behind the lyrics?
Yeah, it's an actually story. It's based on a real set of events that happened probably back in the early 90s again. A bunch of younger guys I knew back then decided to pool their resources and go west and work in the mines, western New South Wales, where it's hot and dry and it's prone to drought and, and all sorts of challenges. And they found that their grand idea of putting together a nest egg, of spending a year out west, piling up the dough, coming back to Sydney, and then they could start doing whatever they wanted to do. But it wasn't quite as easy going as they thought. It was pretty tough. And it was very, very different lifestyle for these guys from the city to go out and live in the bush. It was actually more like a drought-prone town at that stage. As it turns out, the mine closed down, the town was starting to die, things didn't work out quite so well. It sounds like a sad tale, but it turned out to
Yeah.
be a fun song for me to write, just telling their story.
So that's the title song of the album.
That's correct. So there's 12 tracks on the album. They're all written by me. Some of them probably started quite some time ago. As I said, always writing songs. I think if you start writing songs in your younger years, you never really stop. And so to get this project up and running finally after all these years of putting it off, it was a great satisfaction for me just to get these songs out of my head and into the air. People can have a listen to them and have a think about it and see what it means to them.
Yeah, I mean, do you do all this by yourself, or do you collaborate with anyone, like with lyrics, or?
Lots of influences for sure. I think we all have our influences, whatever we grew up with and continue to like. But no, look, I'm not a co-writer. My most creative times are very late at night. You know, when the family's gone to bed, and sometime after 11 p.m. I start thinking about things.
Okay.
So all the songs that I've been happiest with have sort of germinated very, very late at night. So they may come with a lyric idea, they may come with a musical idea. And these days, it's easy just to record them, put them in a cupboard, and come back to them when you've got a bit more time. Most of my creation is done late at night, and it's by myself. The great fun of collaboration for me is in the studio. So wonderful set of musicians on the album, guys that I've known for a long time but hadn't been able to play with for a long time. My mate James Gillard from the Fargone Beauties playing bass and did the vocals, etc. The other guys are all extremely well paid, top level grade musicians in Sydney.
Yeah, so when does the rest of the album actually come out? Do you have a particular date?
We haven't got a date on it yet. I'm just working with a publicist at the moment. We're going to probably put another single out maybe in a couple of months' time. Mm-hmm. We just had one out before we went to the Tamworth Country Music Festival. That's a song called Living the Dream. It's definitely on Spotify. And that's a tale about looking back as well as looking forward in our lives and realising that we look back on some golden years and a great affection, but if you don't get stuck in the background, if you like, make sure you've always got an eye out for the future and what's around the corner. So that song has been doing fairly well on Australian country music radio, and we're very pleased with that.
It's a bit difficult for me really to sort of grasp what the Australian country music scene is, or like how big it is in relation to other genres. How big would you say the country music scene is in Australia?
Gauging by the turn up to the Country Music Festival in Tamworth, it's doing pretty well. So even though I've been up there for over 10 years and we had COVID in the middle of that, it was packed. It was absolutely jam-packed with people. I mean, the biggest challenge in Tamworth, A, is to get somewhere to stay, accommodation, and B, getting around town, literally to get from one side of town to the other so you can get from one show to another can be quite challenging because there's a lot of people in town. There's a festival circuit in Australia, and wherever there is a weekend country music festival on, particularly in the bigger regional centres, it's pretty much sold out.
Apart from the festivals and what have you, is there like a club circuit you can play?
Not specifically a circuit, but there's definitely venues that suit this style of music. They're not specifically big venues for sure, but they'll do 150 to 300 punters on a good day. The bigger acts are still playing bigger rooms and theatres. So the names that have been around for a while, we've still got some big record sales behind them, are still going out and doing the 2,000 to 5,000 seat theatres and doing very, very well.
So do you have any plans to sort of tour this album?
It's going to take it one step at a time, Nigel. I'm going to hopefully get this extra track out probably towards April or so. I'm looking towards getting the album out towards the middle of the year. I'm just talking to a couple of agents right now about what the opportunities are.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. John, thanks very much for taking the time.
Yes, Nigel.
Yeah, you take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.